we're looking at a display that is different than usual, as well as a triple camera system that promises even better mobile photography than before. So let's take a closer look to see if the S10 is a good benchmark to set for the beginning of the year. So as all of the rumors have suggested, we are looking at an all-screen display here. The entire front of the phone is covered with the screen. It is a 93.1% screen-to-window ratio. Samsung was able to achieve this bezel-less look by getting rid of the notch and in its place having a punch hole on the top right corner for the camera up front. On the S10 Plus, this is a slightly wider hole because it has two cameras, or rather a 10-megapixel camera and an RGB depth sensor for portrait mode effects. Also, according to Samsung, this is the world's first smartphone displays to be certified with HDR10+. What that means is you'll get greater dynamic range on your content, and because this phone can also record in HDR10+, the footage that you get on your phone will look nice on your screen as well. Now, the S10 has a 6.1-inch and the S10 Plus 6.4-inch screen, both of them coming in at Quad HD Plus resolutions. But one thing new with these phones in the screen is, you guessed it, an in-screen fingerprint reader. Basically, this uses what Qualcomm provides with the 855, an ultrasonic fingerprint scanner capability. And during our testing, it was pretty fast. It was a little slow to set up, a little hard to get it to read all of the sides of my fingers, but it did unlock the phone quite quickly. Flip the phone over though, and it is still a very gorgeous handset. There are going to be 4 color options available in the US. We've got Prism White, Prism Black, and Prism Blue, as well as Flamingo Pink, which is inspired by the Pantone color of the year, Living Coral. The Flamingo Pink option is a more flat finish, but with the Prism color options, by the way, you're gonna see a little bit of difference in gradient when you're holding the phone in angles that catch the light different ways. So the Prism White, for example, looks a little bit blue or a little bit pink, depending on what you're sort of facing at that time. There's also a 5G version of the phone. That one has 256 gigs of storage, 12 gigs of RAM, and a larger 6.7-inch screen. While we're looking at the phone on the back, by the way, you're going to notice that row of cameras. There are 3 lenses here on the S10 and S10 Plus. We've got a ultra-wide lens, according to Samsung, that has a 120-degree field of view, a wide one that has a 77-degree field of view, as well as a 45-degree field of view. The UI is designed in such a way that you don't have to manually press buttons to switch to different lenses, but you can simply pinch to zoom out and it will automatically switch to the corresponding lens that makes most sense for your picture. Now, we can't talk about cameras without talking about the selfie cameras, which I'm all about. And on the S10, there is just a single shooter, and on the S10 Plus, you have the dual option like I mentioned before. With that secondary sensor, you can create a portrait effect. And on the S10, without that sensor, you're still able to achieve those effects with some software magic. And during my testing, honestly, the effects weren't that different. The S10 Plus is not that much better at creating a portrait effect in your selfie just because it has that additional sensor. So really, you're not missing out if that's what you're looking for. In addition to really focusing on improving its cameras, Samsung also wanted to deliver excellent performance here on the S10. With that chipset, we get all of the promised performance improvements, such as better speeds as well as longer lasting batteries. Samsung is promising up to 24 hours plus of runtime on both the S10 and S10 Plus. And that's on the 3400 mAh and 4100 mAh batteries on the S10 and S10 Plus respectively. Both the S10 and S10 Plus will start out with 128 gigs of storage and 8 gigs of RAM. You'll also see improved connectivity by way of Wi-Fi 6, which is supposed to be much faster and more seamless, as well as Bluetooth 5.0. Another compelling new feature of the new S10s is what they're calling wireless power share. Basically, this allows the handsets to wirelessly charge other T-Wireless compatible devices through the backs of the phones. Samsung also optimized the S10 and S10 Plus for a good mobile gaming experience. Like the Note 9, this phone has a vapor cooling chamber to keep the phone cool while it is running more taxing tasks like the graphics that your games require, so it can keep going at peak performance for longer. Alright, we didn't get to spend enough time to test out all of the S10 and S10 Plus's new features, so really, I would stay tuned for our full review for a better impression. But the good news is, if you already are sold on the S10 and the S10 Plus, if you're that much of a hardcore fan, you can already pre-order the phone tomorrow, that is February 21st. The S10 starts at $899.99 and the S10 Plus starts at $999.99. There's also, obviously, the 5G model that we talked about that has a 256 gigs of storage starting out and a larger 6.7-inch screen. So it's really a way advanced version of the S10. If you're ready to spend that money on a 5G phone, it is going to be available at first exclusive to Verizon in the second quarter of the year, with other carriers coming on board shortly after in the same quarter. The S10 and S10 Plus and the 10e go on sale officially on March 8th. When you want to go check it out in store, that's the date to mark on your calendar. Stay tuned for the full review because that's when we'll be able to do further testing.